You are live.
Okay, great. Well, bringing the Coastal Permit Administrator hearing to order. My name is Julia Krog, and I am the Planning and Building Services Director and the Coastal Permit Administrator for today. So starting right into our agenda, do we have a determination of legal notice?
Legal notice has been determined on each matter.
Okay, great. Thank you. And moving into our regular calendar, our first case is project CDP 2019-0041 for owner applicant Chester Davis and staff planner Shelby Miller. And Shelby, may I please have your presentation?
Sure, thank you. Hello, project planner Shelby Miller here. The standard coastal development permit is in response to a code complaint for unpermitted yurts, structures, and tree thinning. The project request includes permitting 2 yurts with a bathroom addition for residential uses, 1 yurt for storage, a solar system or powerhouse, a greenhouse, a propane tank, solar panels, a storage container, septic system, 2 water tanks, undergrounding utilities, and removing approximately 12 trees, and removing an unpermitted fence. In addition, the applicant proposes to construct a deck addition, a flagstone path, and remodeling the bathroom addition to a laundry room in the future. The subject parcel is located in the coastal zone, 3.5 miles north of the Gualala Town Center, 0.2 miles east of the intersection of State Route 1 and Getchell Gulch Road, located at 46885 Getchell Gulch Road in Gualala. Assessor's parcel number is 144-060-14. 2 biological reports were prepared for the project, including a 2003 biological study that included a reduced buffer analysis and an environmentally sensitive habitat survey update was prepared in September of 2022. The project was referred on July 31st, 2023, March 2024, and May of 2024 for clarification on project materials and requesting additional studies and stuff. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife recommended that the landowner submit a lake and stream bed alteration agreement for the current and ongoing water diversion for domestic use. That has been included as a condition of approval, which was number 5, I think, on the staff report. On August 26th of 2024, the Department of Fish and Wildlife reviewed both of the biological studies and concurs with the proposed reduced buffer analysis if the following recommendations are implemented to protect the stream adjacent to the driveway, including installing permanent low symbolic fencing along the driveway to prevent future encroachment and sediment from entering the creek. The second is to plant native species along the bank of the creek to provide bank stability and filter sediment during rain events, and targeting invasive plant species for removal for a period of 5 years, and landscaping shall be dominated by locally native species and shall not include non-native invasive plant species. The California Coastal Commission provided several comments over the span of the project, including requesting additional information on the project, specifically what biological resources were removed and where, and requesting the county clarify what development is existing and what is actually proposed. And it appears that a portion of the after-the-fact development was constructed within the 100-foot buffer of the stream. And that's why the project was referred out 3 times. And what else? Staff also coordinated with the Department of Fish and Wildlife to essentially create conditions of approval that would, you know, allow for like essentially like no more encroachment into the stream or having any impact on biological resources. And also, I will say that the after the fact development is constructed or was constructed greater than 50 feet from the on-site environmentally sensitive habitat areas, which was the stream. There was a reduced buffer analysis that was prepared in the 2003 report, and it essentially determined that you know, the development is not going to impact any ESHA unless, or with the implementation of like best management practices, and which have also been included in the conditions of approval in the staff report. 2 memos have also been prepared for this project. One of them was staff identified an error under the project summary on page 3 of the hearing packet, which indicates that the project is not appealable. However, pursuant to the California Coastal Act section 30603, projects are appealable when development is located within 100 feet of any wetland, estuary, or stream. So therefore, the project is appealable to the Coastal Commission. The second memo is after consulting with the California Coastal Commission on Monday of this week, on February 10th, I think. You know, the California Coastal Commission essentially requested that there would be more conditions of approval to protect biological resources in the future, and to create essentially like a revegetation plan. So condition of approval number 22 has been added, and it would be to prior to the issuance of a building permit associated with this coastal development permit, the landowner shall submit to the county planning department for review and written approval a revegetation plan, and it shall be prepared by a qualified ecologist and or biologist, and shall include the following: A, color photos that demonstrate the baseline inventory of vegetation on the project site. The baseline inventory shall be noted as the current conditions. B, target invasive species for removal for a minimum of 5 years, and planting native species along the bank of the creek, and to provide bank stability and filter sediment during rain events, and also just to not plant any invasives on the property. Performance criteria and alternative methods to achieve success shall also be included, and reporting shall occur on an annual basis to the planning division, and there's some reporting information included on that. Anyways, and that concludes the staff report. Oh, actually, one other thing. Condition of approval number 9 includes addressing a concern from the Coastal Commission and also from the building division that essentially the Coastal Commission questioned whether yurts could be permitted as a single-family residence. However, this condition of approval will essentially address that, which is within 90 days of the issuance of the CDP, the property owner must obtain building permits for all unpermitted structures associated with the CDP. except as otherwise exempt by the building code. And essentially, so the yurts will have to meet the uniform building code requirements for habitable uses. And yes, the project is categorically exempt and staff recommends approval. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shelby. Do we have anybody representing the application, either in the room or on Zoom? Okay, I see we have someone in the room. Do you have any comments that you wish to make on the project at this time? And please just state your name for the record.
My name is Chester Davis. Just that this is a ridiculous amount of time spent on doing this. 5 years, 5 different people. So much information got lost in the process, translated. To me, it's a farce, absolute farce what I'm going through, considering I own 7 acres of land. You want to make it impossible for a person to build on their land. You can't even see my place except from the air. The trees I cut down were no bigger than this in order to gain a little more solar on my solar. Just the whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What I have gone through the last 5 years to get this to this stage. There should be a time limit on this kind of process. Other than that, you know, a yurt, I've lived in a yurt for 20 years. It's a perfectly fine abode. For you to have a problem with it, I can't see. It's a sustainable living. It doesn't impact the environment like conventional building does. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm frustrated with this whole process for what I went through with this. 5 different people. If it wasn't for Shelby, I probably wouldn't be here still.
Well, I'm sorry to hear you've had a very long process, it sounds like, to reach this point as part of getting, to a hearing. And knowing that, yeah, there are some challenges between both the coastal zone requirements and California building code requirements, which really, can create some significant hurdles for property owners within the coastal zone. But I want to check, do you have any additional comments you wish to make? Any comments on any of the conditions of approval at this time?
I don't know. I haven't, some of them, wasn't fully aware of these other memos that came in. As far as the ridding the Scotch broom and all that stuff, I've been doing that for 20 years. I've been trying to get rid of invasive species for 20 years on the property. To go and tell me, oh, I need to do it for 5 years and report in every year as to what my progress is, that's bullshit. I've been doing it for 20 years now already. I realize the invasive species. I don't like them on my property. The pampas grass, the Scotch broom. I do everything to maintain my property in the most natural state it is. I got 7 acres of forest. Yeah, it's overgrown because it's been logged in the past, logged in '64. Again, the previous owner did some illegal logging on it. I'm doing everything I can to keep the forest as it is, other than thinning and managing it and to keep it from burning up if there's ever a fire. These conditions, some of these conditions are just absolutely ridiculous to me because I'm already doing them. But whatever it takes to get through this process, I'm really, really, really tired of it, I had to drive over in a day of rain to be here, to just assure that my rights are not violated by other people's opinions.
Well, we appreciate you making the drive over to participate in the hearing, and know that we do always have a Zoom option available too, which I can understand is sometimes challenging depending where you live and internet connectivity. But so if you have no additional comments, then I'll go ahead and open up the public comment portion of this item and see if we have any members of the public on Zoom who wish to provide comment on this item, or any individuals in the room. And if you're on Zoom and wish to provide comment comment, please use the raise hand feature and we can add you to the meeting. See no hands raised, and I don't see any members of the public wishing to speak in the room. So I'll go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator. So I want to thank staff for the detailed staff report and presentation. This project looked like it had many different items to address. Sometimes working through after the fact development can be a quite challenging process for both staff and the applicant. And appreciate the applicant's patience, as this sounds like it's been passed through several different hands.
5 different hands. 5.
Yeah, and I'm sorry
And
to hear
dropped.
that.
So much information dropped. You know, I get
Yes.
tired of going through we don't have it. Well, I gave it to you.
Staff
type
turnover is
thing.
certainly a challenge that we've experienced in our office, but I'm glad to hear that Shelby was able to bring this to the Coastal Permit Administrator once it got into her capable hands. So with that, I am going to approve the project subject to the findings and conditions within the staff report, including the additional condition recommended by staff in the memorandum dated for today's meeting. I believe that was condition 22. So with that, Mr. Davis, your permit is approved. There are 2 appeal periods associated with this application. The first is with the local Board of Supervisors, which is 10 calendar days. And then the second is with the California Coastal Commission, which is 10 working days. So roughly about 30 days from today, you'll have your effective permit that you can then begin addressing any building permits or other requirements.
So I don't see any reason to appeal anything, then we should be moving forward.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it?
Congratulations on reaching this point in the process. I wish you best of luck getting through the
Thank you.
next
I didn't
building
think
permit
I'd
process.
make it by the time I turned 70. Yeah.
All right, thank you for being here
Thank you,
today.
Shelby.
Yeah, thank you.
I greatly appreciate your effort.
Yeah. Good luck.
Bye.
Have a safe drive.
Okay, and moving on to our next item on the agenda, which is, let me just pull up my agenda here. Okay, case CDP 2024-0004 for Martin Ryman and Oliver Schlick, or Schilk, and I'm sorry if I butchered that name. And I'll turn it over to Staff Planner Liam Crowley for your presentation.
Thank you. This is Liam with Planning and Building. So I just wanted to talk about a memorandum that was posted earlier regarding this project. So after this case was publicly noticed and the mitigated negative declaration was circulated, I met with California Fish and Wildlife, the Water Board, and Coastal Commission staff to discuss several concerns they had about the project. And as a result of that meeting, the applicant submitted several documents in response to those comments in that discussion. And several elements of the project were removed from the scope of work as well. And so due to that additional information and the revisions, the mitigated negative declaration had to be revised and has to be circulated for additional review from those agencies and the public. And because of that, to allow the recirculation of the negative declaration and adequate time for review, I'm requesting that the item be continued to the March 13th Coastal Permit Administrator meeting. And I did discuss that with the applicant, the owner and the applicant, and we agreed on that date to continue it. So that's all for me. Thanks.
Just look to see if we do have a representative of the application that wishes to provide any comment on the continuance request, either in the room or online. And I'm not seeing any hands raised, so thank you, Staff Planner Liam, and I will go ahead and continue this item to the March 13th agenda, which will be again at 11 a.m. Okay, and then moving on to our final case on the agenda. This is Coastal Development Permit. Oh, I don't have the number here. It's the amendment, excuse me, let me pull that up. So CDPM 2024-0009. And this is for the owner applicant Casper Highway 1 LLC and the staff planner Liam Crowley. May I please have your presentation?
Yes, thanks. This is Liam again. So this is a modification of a CDP from 2019, which authorized the demolition and reconstruction of a single-family residence in the same location as the residence that was there previously. And after that CDP was approved, the applicant obtained a building permit and began construction on that project. And partly through the construction process and the building permit process, they desired to make certain amendments to the project. Some of those amendments were authorized as a substantial conformance with that existing CDP, but some of the amendments had to be processed as an amendment to that original coastal development permit. So that's what's before us all today. And it includes the addition of a spa, a chimney, and a pavilion within the existing footprint of that previous residence, a reduction in the patio space, removal of a previously proposed pond and planting bed, and construction of a 288 square foot detached utility structure. And so I'll just go over the findings and conditions very briefly. So the project will be provided with adequate facilities. It's going to utilize the same existing well, septic system, leach field, driveway, electricity, and other utilities that were being used by that existing residence. And the project was determined, well, this modification was determined to be categorically exempt from CEQA. And a archaeological study was done on the property in 2018 as part of that previous CDP, and the Archaeological Commission met in April of 2019 and accepted that survey with the addition of a condition requiring that an archaeologist be present for all ground disturbing activities. And so that same determination would hold for this modification as well. In addition, all of the proposed development would either be located within the existing footprint of that previous dwelling or would be at least 100 feet from any ESHA. And the property is bordered to the north and south by Jug Handle State Reserve, so there's no need for additional public access to the bluff or to the coast for this modification. So the conditions of approval are mostly the same as what was approved as part of and adopted as part of the previous CDP from 2019. However, there were just a couple additions related to the modification. For example, condition 20 was added due to the proposal to add a wood stove, and that condition is related to EPA certification and building standards for wood stoves, just making sure that wood stove is an EPA certified unit. And then condition 21 and 22 were added based on new geotechnical reports that were submitted as part of this proposed modification. So in addition to that, I also just did want to mention a memo that I had prepared for this project, which was just to note that the original condition of approval regarding an archaeologist being present for ground disturbing activities that was included in the 2019 CDP wasn't carried over into this CDP. So I'm just requesting that that condition be added to this modification, just to ensure there's consistency from the previous permits. And then just a minor comment about condition of approval number 9. It references a variance when it should reference a coastal development permit, so I'm just requesting that small change be adopted there. And I did just also want to mention, so one of the aspects of this project is the addition of a chimney, and the chimney would actually extend beyond the 18-foot height limit, which is normal for this zone and for the highly scenic area that it's within. However, in the staff report, we did determine that it was it wouldn't have any impact on coastal views. However, I did also notice when reviewing this further that the actual definition of building height within our code just a direct quote here, it means the vertical distance from the average ground level of the building to the highest point of the roof ridge or parapet wall. So in addition to it not having any impact on coastal views, it sounds like the chimney itself, which is the only portion of the building that extends beyond the 18-foot height limit, actually wouldn't count as part of that building height requirement. So I guess it's even less of an issue in that respect. So with that, I'm just recommending that the project be approved in accordance with the findings and conditions, including those modifications that I mentioned in that memo. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you, Liam. And do we have anybody representing the application? Okay, great. I see we have Todd Newberger. And Todd, please just state your name for the record and any comments you may have.
Hi, my name is Todd Newberger. I am an architect and agent for the owner. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Can you just the carrying over of the condition that the archaeological condition that Liam just discussed, is that a line item in the conditions now? Which number is that? Or will that be added after this meeting?
It's recommended to be added as a condition of approval number 23. And Liam, please correct me if I'm incorrect.
No, that's correct. And it would just read, an archaeologist shall be present for all ground disturbing activities. So.
Okay. Got it. Okay, I'd like to just say that I've reviewed the findings, I've reviewed the standard conditions, I've reviewed the special conditions, and find them all acceptable. And I want to thank Liam specifically for your communication and timeliness. I appreciate your efforts. It's been great working with you. And we accept this permit conditions, and thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you, Todd. So now I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing and see if we have any members of the public who wish to comment on this item, and you can indicate so by using the raise hand feature. And I'm not seeing anybody in the room, so and I'm not seeing any hands raised on Zoom either. So I'll go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator. So thank you, staff, for the detailed staff report on this modification request. And for going through the explanation regarding the building height. I completely agree with you. I think that chimneys are not included in the overall calculation of building height. But regardless, it sounds like it's not a view issue either with the location of this property. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and approve the project subject to the findings and conditions within the staff report with the amendments to condition number 9 and the addition of condition 23. And similar to the last project, there are 2 subsequent appeal periods associated with the project. And I do see that a hand has been raised. So I will, go ahead and please state your name for the record.
Hello, this is Alexander Leff. I'm the owner of the site, and I just wanted to express my appreciation to you and your colleagues for the time and focus on this project, and delighted that it looks like it will be meeting with your approval. We hope to do something that will be a beautiful home and something that'll be an asset for the area and respectful of the preciousness of the environment in that area, which is why I've purchased the property and want to build a home there. So I just wanted to extend my appreciation for your time and efforts. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for your comments, and we wish you the best of luck with your project. So with that, the project is approved. So as I mentioned, there are those 2 subsequent appeal periods, and now we'll go ahead and move on with our agenda to if there's any matters from staff. No matters from staff. Are there any matters from the public? No hands raised. Okay, great. So then we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 11:31. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks.